Every day, nearly 60% of India's goods depend on routes just one landslide or washed-out bridge away from disaster. When a single corridor fails, prices spike across cities and fragile villages alike, sometimes doubling in days. How do logistics systems survive? And what really keeps the lifelines connected through chaos? The answer isn't what most people think. India's freight system balances on a narrow backbone. Nearly 60% of all goods in the country move by road, but the vast majority of that volume depends on a surprisingly small slice of the highway network. Less than 5% of India's total road length carries over 40% of all road traffic. These are not sprawling, multi-lane expressways. They are often two-lane corridors, hemmed in by terrain or built decades ago for lighter loads. When one of these arteries is blocked, the effects ripple far beyond the immediate region. Supplies that keep cities running, including fuel, food, and medicine, move alongside shipments bound for remote hill towns and border districts, all funneled through the same fragile corridors. The system is so tightly concentrated that a single landslide or bridge failure on a key highway can strand hundreds of trucks, disrupt factory production schedules, and leave shelves empty in villages and metros alike. The pressure on these choke points is constant. As India's economy and population grow, the volume of goods moving through already stretched corridors only increases. Every truck delayed or rerouted adds cost, hours, and uncertainty, not just for one business, but for entire supply chains. In this environment, logistics is less about smooth flow and more about managing exposure, knowing that if a single corridor falters, the impact will be felt across entire regions and sometimes across the nation. Monsoon season transforms India's unstable routes into a test of endurance. Between June and September, as much as 80% of the country's annual rainfall falls in just a few weeks. In the Himalayas and along the Brahmaputra, roads carved into steep slopes can turn into landslides overnight. The soil, already fragile, becomes saturated and unstable, causing highways to collapse or to vanish beneath rock and mud. In Assam's river valleys, floodwaters swallow entire stretches of road, while embankments erode and force detours that can add 150 kilometers or more to a single journey. Even in the Gangetic Plains, poorly drained alluvial soils buckle under the weight of loaded trucks, creating potholes deep enough to trap axles. Bridges built for lighter, slower traffic decades ago become bottlenecks, sometimes only a single lane wide, with strict tonnage limits that force trucks to cross one at a time. When a bridge is damaged or a landslide blocks a pass, the only option is often a long, slow loop through secondary roads, if those remain passable at all. These disruptions are not rare events. They return every year with the monsoon. The result is a logistics network that must operate with the expectation that routes will fail and that every shipment is only as secure as the next hillside or riverbank allows. Every shipment across India's unstable corridors depends on a chain of moving parts, each with its own role and rhythm. Trucks remain the backbone of mid- and long-haul freight, especially in regions where rail lines never reached or cannot withstand the monsoon. On these routes, trucks are chosen for their flexibility, able to detour around a blocked pass or switch to a secondary road at a dispatcher's call. The journey rarely runs straight from origin to destination. Instead, goods travel through a series of staging points, buffer depots in towns at the edge of reliable access, where essentials like food, fuel, and medicines are stockpiled in anticipation of seasonal closures. These depots act as shock absorbers for the system, holding weeks or even months of supplies when the next delivery could be delayed by a landslide or flood. Timing is everything. Dispatchers play a central role, studying weather reports, road status updates, and recent traffic flows to decide when and how convoys should move. On landslide-prone stretches, trucks often travel in tightly scheduled night or early morning convoys, taking advantage of lower traffic and more stable slopes before the day's heat or rain increases risk. Convoy movement is not just about safety in numbers. It is about ensuring that if one truck is stranded, help is not far behind, and that critical supplies arrive together rather than in unpredictable dribs and drabs. As cargo nears its destination, the system fragments into smaller, more agile units. In high altitude or remote districts, the last leg may pass to porters, mules, or small four-wheel drives, whatever can navigate the final kilometers where roads thin to tracks or disappear into mud. Redundancy and buffers shape every decision. Extra trucks stand ready at depots. Schedules are padded with time buffers to absorb delays. The entire system operates with the expectation that routes will fail, and that only careful coordination between drivers, dispatchers, and local operators can keep goods moving when the map turns unreliable. On unstable routes, adaptation is not a matter of improvisation. It is deliberate, almost ritualized. Every year, calendars are drafted around hazard windows. In Himachal and Arunachal, district officers and dispatchers pore over rainfall charts and past closure dates, agreeing on the last safe week for bulk deliveries before roads vanish under snow or mud. This deadline is treated as immovable. Trucks line up at buffer depots, and warehouses fill to capacity with food grains, fuel, and medicines. Planners build in a margin, knowing a single early storm can close a pass for the season. On the road, vehicles themselves are tailored for survival. Mechanics add extra leaf springs to truck suspensions, fit stiffer rubber bushings, and reinforce chassis with welded plates. In the Pangji Valley, a maintenance foreman checks each truck's undercarriage before the monsoon, insisting on a double set of shock absorbers and an extra spare tire lashed to the frame. These are not luxuries. They are the minimum needed to keep wheels turning through potholes and over rockfalls. Communication is stripped to essentials. In valleys where mobile data drops out, drivers and dispatchers rely on local radio and WhatsApp groups, where a single voice message that says, "Slide at 29th mile, road closed," can halt dozens of trucks before they commit to a dangerous stretch. Updates move faster than official notices, and word of mouth becomes a lifeline. 4 practices underpin this system: fixed seasonal calendars, mechanical reinforcement, low-tech but fast communication, and constant human judgment. The result is a logistics network that looks improvised, but in reality, operates on routines and redundancies honed by years of hard lessons. For drivers and foremen, survival depends less on luck than on knowing exactly when to move, what to reinforce, and whom to trust for information. On the Killar Kishtwar road, winter closes the high pass for months and isolates entire valleys. Before the first snow, supply trucks bring in bulk essentials, grains, fuel, and medicines, enough to last through the freeze. At the last accessible depot, goods are offloaded and shuttled in smaller vehicles, each trip planned to match the road's narrow turns and unstable ledges. Drivers from local families with years of experience run this relay through the season's last safe window. When snow finally shuts the pass, the valley relies on these pre-positioned stocks. Survival is tied to the discipline of early planning and the practiced judgment of those behind the wheel. National Highway 10, the only all-weather link between Siliguri and Gangtok, can grind to a halt in the monsoon with a single landslide. This road is a lifeline for many communities and markets. In July, a fresh slide near Melli left trucks carrying vegetables and dairy stranded for nearly a day. With little cold storage along the route, dispatchers scrambled to divert perishables to markets in Kalimpong, but the volume overwhelmed side roads. In Gangtok, a warehouse manager watched shelves empty as deliveries stalled. Some shops started rationing onions and tomatoes, selling only what was left in storage. For residents, this cycle is familiar: a blocked highway, prices rising, and fresh food vanishing until the road is cleared and the supply chain restarts. In the floodplains of Bihar, a battered stretch of road becomes a brief marketplace. After heavy rain, villagers fill axle-deep potholes with earth and bricks, asking truckers for 20 or 50 rupees as they pass. A patch crew foreman stands by, shovel in hand, while a fuel truck slows, the driver handing over cash. Each informal repair means deliveries keep moving, sparing hours of delay and keeping fuel flowing to the next town. Right now, every supply chain rests on routes that can fail without warning. As India's climate and demand shift, resilience is not optional. It is the backbone of daily life. The true test is not surviving instability, but building systems that adapt before disaster strikes. What would breaking that chain mean for you?